Hi there. This video will walk you through the grant reporting process for the Child Care Stabilization grants for fall of 2021. You can access the grant reports through the Great Start to Quality profile for the program. You would log in just like you logged in to access your application. Once inside your Great Start to Quality profile, you can select the Grants tab. You'll notice the closed grants here. This is the application that you would have submitted in fall of 2021. And you'll notice the approved grant application here. This is the link where you can find reports. So you'll see application details. This is just a copy of the application that you completed back in the fall. The notification letter that you would have received via email. And then the reporting tabs. You'll notice a grant spending report, a recruitment and hiring report if the program received recruitment and hiring funds, a receipts tab, and an impact story tab. And we'll walk through each of those. Let's start with a grant spending report. You'll notice there's contact information here if you have any questions. And the first section is about staff bonuses. Important things to notice about staff bonuses is that they must be paid by March 1st of 2022. This report does not need to be submitted by that time. The documentation that you provide just needs to indicate that the funds are spent by March 1st. You'll notice throughout the reports, much of the information is populated based on what was approved in the grant application. For this program, they have both full-time and part-time staff bonuses noted here. Anytime there are funds remaining, they are noted in red font so that childcare providers can pay close attention to make sure that the spending is taking place. If you'll recall, staff bonuses must be paid in the increments allotted. So for full-time staff, they must be $1,000 bonuses to each of the full-time staff and $500 bonuses to each of the part-time staff. Bonuses can be entered here as a number. So this program paid out 2 of the bonuses, and you'll notice funds change here to 0 as it balances out. And I'll just indicate that we've only paid 1 part-time bonus so you can see what that looks like. Anytime there are unspent funds in the grant report, information on how to return the funds will be noted here. Once all of the funds are spent, that information will go away. So providers will know there are no funds to return. Providers must certify that they've received staff bonuses and that they were used for that purpose, and note that they must retain that information for 4 years. Throughout the report, you can save. This does not submit the report, and you can certainly navigate away and come back if you need to and make any changes. The next section of this report is called grant spending. Again, you'll notice this is pre-populated from the application. This program received $20,000. And so below here is where they can indicate exactly what they use the funds for and have documentation for. All through this section, you can indicate the dollar amounts that were used and then make notes about the expense or expenses. So I'm just going to scroll down here and indicate that this program used $12,000. And this provider used rent for their last 12 months on their location. And so I'll show you a little bit later how we can document that in that receipts tab I showed you earlier. So let's scroll down a little bit and see some of the other opportunities for indicating expenses. And I want to show you here at the bottom where it's similar to what we looked at in staff bonuses in that it calculates the spending for you. And so you'll notice there is around $8,000 left for this program to spend. The same is true as above. So if there are remaining funds here, it will note how funds need to be returned. We can note here that we spent $9,000 in personal protective equipment and cleaning supplies. And then you'll notice down at the bottom, there is no longer funds remaining. We've actually overspent, which is just fine. So we can save this here. And it will always note that the report was saved successfully. The next section here is regarding program data. There are two questions being asked here. One is about enrollment capacity, and that really means how many children could you enroll based on the staff that you currently have in your program and your license capacity. This is a group home. It is staffed, and so we can currently enroll 12. So we'll have 2 infants, 3 toddlers, and 7 preschoolers. That's how many we could enroll. The next question is average enrollment. And what this is really looking for is how many children did you enroll in the last month before you submit this report. And this program actually enrolled the 2 infants. So we'll indicate that there. The next section is just more questions about enrollment. And so by your own definition, are you fully enrolled? And we can say yes. If the program chose no, we would want to ask why. And it could be several of these. So operating fewer hours, not able to meet ratios because of staffing, COVID protocols, previously enrolled children have not yet returned, but holding on to their spot for them, or families haven't enrolled. And there certainly is another option as well. So we'll put this back to yes. And do you have a waiting list? I'll say yes, this program does have a waiting list. And by your own definition, are you fully staffed? And I will say yes. And that's really it for data collection in this particular report. Below, you'll see the certifications and attestations. These are just the same as what you completed in the application. Just an opportunity for you to read back through, make sure that everything that you've reported here aligns with what's being required, and that you're understanding deadlines. So I would just encourage you to take the time to reread this. In order to submit the grant application, you do have to check these attestations. You'll notice here at the bottom is a button that says Submit Report. And a note that indicates that once you submit it, you can't edit anymore. So certainly make sure that before you edit the application, you're reviewing the information that you've submitted, making sure that as best you can, there are no funds remaining. And if there is, again, remaining funds, you're calling the Office of Child Development and Care to report the information needed here. So I'm going to just change this back, indicating that we have, in fact, used all of our funds. And we can submit that here. I'm going to leave this be for now, because I want to show you some of the other reports and where you can enter receipts and other documentation. So if we go back up to the top, you'll see the recruitment and hiring report. This program chose to accept recruitment and hiring funds for the vacancies that they had at the time of application. Again, lots of information pre-populated from that application and what they were awarded. So at the time of application, this program needed a full-time staff member and a part-time staff member. And so for the full-time staff member, $1,000 was allotted. And then for the part-time staff member, $500 was allotted. Because this program is fully staffed at this point, both of these vacancies have been filled. And so there are currently no vacancies. So we'll report that there. And you'll notice that the total amount that was awarded is here. And so there are 3 options for expenses for the recruitment and hiring report: hiring costs, employee benefits, and bonus and wages. And so for this particular program, they chose to give hiring bonuses to their staff that they hired. And so they used the full 1,500 here. And just putting a note there. And currently there are no funds remaining. So you see that that font changed to black. If this program, let's say they weren't able to hire and they only use the $1,000 as a bonus, again, they would have that red font there alerting you to funds that are remaining. And then the note about how to return funds would then again pop up. Again, an opportunity to save at any time, which will record the information successfully so you can walk away and return at any time. That is it for the recruitment and hiring report. Again, at the bottom, similar attestations and certifications that were in the application. Again, please read over these thoroughly to make sure that the way that the funds have been used align with what is required from the grant. And again, these must be checked in order to submit. I will submit this grant report. It says, please fill in all required fields and check all of the check boxes. So let's go see what is missing. So because the funds were remaining, it does require the program to indicate that they will be sending the remaining funds back. So we must check that box. We'll save it again. And then we'll submit. This record was saved successfully. And now you'll note that I can no longer edit this report. So do make sure that you're saving until you're absolutely sure that you want to submit, so that you are sure that you are accurately reporting on the grant funds. Okay, so let's go to the Receipts tab. So really what this tab is for is just to collect all of the documentation that aligns with your grant spending or the way that you use grant funds. This is not a report that is submitted. This actually can be added to at any point. It is not required as part of the grant reporting, but really just a tool for you to use to make sure that you have all of your documentation in one place, because you do have to keep it for a length of time in order to meet grant requirements. So I'll show you how to add receipt or documentation. So in this drop down here, you would choose fall 2021 here, and the vendor name. So I have a receipt from Menards, and the receipt date was back in November, and the purchase amount was for $500. This was actually part of that cleaning supply expense that I noted in my grant report. So I'm going to indicate that here. If I try to save this, it's going to ask me to fill in the required fields. So all of these fields with asterisks are required in order to make a submission. So I have to submit a document. So I'm going to choose a file. And you'll note here the file types that can be added. So a PDF, a GIF, a JPEG, or a PNG are all acceptable files. And I will save it here. And I will say, yes, I do want to save my record. It will note that it's saved successfully. And then you'll begin to see a running list. So every receipt that is saved here in this receipt tab will just be noted as a running list here. So you can go back and look at it, make any edits that you need. If maybe you are mistaken and the receipt date needed to be changed, you could do that as well. So that is here. The next tab here is what we call an impact story. And this is really just free form narrative text and an opportunity to upload any images if you'd like. to tell the Department of Education and others how you used your grant funds and the impact that it made to your program. This is not required. However, it is helpful for us to hear and to be able to demonstrate how the grant funds impacted childcare providers across Michigan. And so we would invite you to complete this if you would like. We thank you so much for taking the time to view this video. I hope that it was helpful for you in navigating the childcare stabilization grant reports. If you have questions about the reporting process, please contact your local Great Start to Quality Resource Center, and staff is ready to assist you with any questions you might have. And the email address is greatstarttoquality@ecicforkids.org, or by calling 1-877-614-7328. Or you can contact the Child Development and Care Office at 1-866-990-3227. We're happy to assist you, and we appreciate your time. Have a great day.